everybody to our Points on Product call today with Dr. Brian Dixon. My name is Greg Pelka. I'm an Elite Pro 8 out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I'm actually hosting today because Master Pro 10 Ryan Fry, we call him Rye Fry, is actually getting ready to launch out to our Elite Academy down in Florida. So he will not be able to be with us today, but we are honored to have Dr. Dixon today talking about Daily Wellness, one of our flagship products, one of our awesome products that we have here at LifeVantage. But before I let Dr. Dixon start to go ahead and share his information, I want to read Dr. Dixon's bio because I don't think people understand just how brilliant of a scientist he really is. Dr. Brian Dixon earned his PhD in molecular and cellular biology from Oregon State University in affiliation with the Linus Pauling Institute, one of the, if not the most world-renowned, natural research centers in the world. His research focused on underlying biochemical mechanisms in the aging process and the therapeutic potential of the R-alpha lipoic acid. Dr. Dixon went on to do his postdoctoral work at the Linus Pauling Institute, evaluating bioavailability of lipoic acid in young and elderly adults and its role in ameliorating deficits known to occur with age or aging, you guys. So he has been studying this for a long, long time. He's authored scientific peer-reviewed manuscripts on the topic, such as cancer, antioxidants, cellular signaling, gene regulation, stress coping mechanisms, weight management, sports nutrition, recovery following intense exercise, role of nutrition in recovery from surgery, inflammation, immunity, the aging process, NRF2 activation, and research on nutrients such as glutathione, vitamin D, plant polyphenols. Okay, trust me on this one, that one's scared me, and other polynutrients. Dr. Dixon has authored a book chapter examining the role of dietary antioxidants and cardiovascular disease in the elderly. Dr. Dixon began his career working for one of the world's largest biotech companies developing 2 cancer diagnostics. He then transitioned to nutrition and has been in the nutritional industry for over 13 years. In that time, he has had many roles from managing human clinical research, product innovation, product development, health education, public speaking, social media, and content marketing. And as a result of these efforts, he has been a co-inventor of no fewer than 12 filed patents relating to the nutritional industry. Nutrition has always been close to his heart. He's seen firsthand the power of proper nutrition and even individual key nutrients in helping to provide optimal health. The reason he is so excited to be joining the LifeVantage scientific team is for the one reason and one reason only: their unyielding and uncompromising commitment to creating effective science-based health products. It is my honor and privilege to welcome Dr. Brian Dixon to the call today, you guys. Thank you so much for being with us today, Dr. Dixon.
Hey, thanks for having me again, Greg. I appreciate it. Yeah, I guess you just needed to kill 5 minutes and read that bio, but I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, let's talk about daily wellness today. So daily wellness has quickly become just one of my absolute most favorite products here at LifeVantage. And I hope everybody is considering daily wellness, especially now because we're in the middle of winter, and what better time to shore up your immune system than this time of year, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. So what is daily wellness, just in case you're not familiar? Well, it's our powdered drink mix that's meant to be consumed daily. And I think our marketing team did an amazing job by calling it daily wellness, because I would say our key competitor in the marketplace would be those brands you can go buy at the local convenience store or grocery store. And an interesting point is a lot of those products are only meant to be consumed for 1 or 2 weeks most at a time. And the reason for that is they're trying to really boost your immune system on the short term to try to get you through whatever it is you're going through. But that approach of boosting your immune system over time isn't a long-term strategy to immune health. In fact, there's a number of ingredients that are found in those types of products that if you take them longer than that 2-week period, they actually start having the opposite effect and actually start impeding your immune system. So right there off the bat, just such a competitive difference in the marketplace, where we're trying to strengthen your immune system. And it might sound like a little bit of semantics, but you can only boost something for so long, right? Before, I guess, you just get exhausted and you can wear out your immune system. So here our approach is just to help strengthen your immune system every day over time to also support your overall health. But let's talk about our immune system. And this is the part of the presentation where we do jump into some science. And again, the disclaimer, it's not my goal to turn everybody in to little scientists. I just give you the scientific background for confidence, and just in case you might be wondering how it's all working on that cellular and molecular level. So let's talk about our immune system, what it is, how it works, and what we can do to support it. So if we look at the definition of our immune system, it's this highly coordinated system of cells, proteins, and chemical signals that are designed to keep us as healthy as possible. Technically speaking, from a scientific point of view, there are 3 parts of our immune systems, and that is your innate immune system, something called your adaptive immune system, and then probably the most important part of our immune system is this third portion. And anyone know what that might be? It's staring you right back in the mirror. It's our skin, or what we call scientifically, right, the barrier system. And if you think about it, those are the right words, because our skin is really the barrier to the outside world. We're trying to keep the outside world out and the inside world in. But we're not just talking about the skin that we can see. We also have a layer of skin that lines our entire digestive system. That's also considered part of our barrier system. And if you think about it, you know, at least the upper part of that digestive tract, it's exposed to the air that we breathe. Of course, it's exposed to all the food that we eat, the water that we drink, as well as the rest of our digestive system. So it's exposed to some pretty nasty things. And we also need to be thinking about keeping our gut as healthy as possible if we want to talk about our best immune system. So let's talk about each of those 3 components of the immune system, and we'll start with that barrier system, or the skin. I like to think of the skin as like being the walls of a castle. So the thicker and the higher they are, right, the harder it's going to be for something to get in. And that's how we want to approach our skin health as well. We want nice, healthy skin cells that make nice, tight connections so nothing can sneak through there. So now if we look at our innate and adaptive immune system, I know this is a pretty complicated chart that's up there, but I don't put this up there to want to walk through it. But I just want to show you that these different parts of our immune system has a number of different cells. They all have names. But what is so interesting about the cells of our innate and adaptive immune system is they all originate from a single stem cell. So when that stem cell starts dividing, it has to make the decision about what type of immune cell do I want to become. And it turns out we can use nutrients to help steer that process, that decision-making process that we call differentiation in science. So here's another way to look at our innate and adaptive immune system. And, you know, as scientists, we like to talk about them as being 2 very discrete parts of our immune system. But the fact is, there's a group of cells that can communicate between the cells of our innate immune system and the cells of our adaptive immune system. So there's a ton of really highly coordinated communication that's going on between these 2 parts of our immune system. But the innate immune system, if you were to ask me, is really more of our ancient immune system. And the reason I say that is they're working in a pretty crude manner. Just like when a bomb goes off, it's going to, you know, affect negatively everything that's around it. And the cells of our innate immune system work that same way. They just start generating a whole bunch of free radicals and oxidants and put out this cloud around it that's going to affect everything that's in that cloud, whether it's something foreign to our bodies or whether it's our own host cells and tissues. But I should say too, while that seems maybe a downside of the innate immune system, the innate immune system is still incredibly important because these are the first responders of our immune system. So these cells tend to be the first guys and girls that are on the scene to try to take care of whatever it is they need to take care of. And then compare and contrast that with the cells of our adaptive immune system. These cells are highly specialized in the jobs that they do. So these would be really like the snipers of our immune system. They go in there with precision and specificity. And this is also the part of our immune system where that memory lies. So if you remember, maybe when you were a kid, you had chickenpox. I mean, my brother and I, we were just reminiscing about having a chickenpox party when we were kids. We wanted to get the chickenpox early, get it, and then we should be immune, right, the rest of our lives. Well, that immunity comes from our adaptive immune system. I don't think chickenpox parties are very cool anymore, but I guess that dates me. But anyway, if we come back to this definition of the immune system and we look at this chemical signals, right, that I've underlined, what am I talking about there? Well, we see this ability to follow chemical signals throughout nature. I mean, it's why ants can follow this pheromone trail that's been laid down to go find food and water, and then she eventually finds her way back to the nest. Or if we think about butterflies, the female butterfly will go and land high in a treetop. She will start fluttering her wings just a little bit and excreting pheromones. This effectively puts out a little cloud of pheromones. The male butterfly is very uniquely equipped to be able to smell those pheromones, and he will follow that pheromone trail back to the female butterfly, and they will make little baby butterflies. But this same sort of chemical signaling and attraction is happening in our immune system. And I don't know if you all have ever seen your immune system actually work, but it's mind-blowing when you actually see it. So I've got a short video here. It doesn't have any sound, so don't think you should be hearing anything. But what the scientists have done here is took a whole bunch of our immune cells and put them on a microscope slide. And then they put a tiny parasitic worm on that microscope slide. And I want you to see how these immune cells react. And I'll draw your eyes to the bottom of this worm and then somewhere right in the middle. You'll see a couple of immune cells recognize that worm as foreign. It's clearly putting out those chemical signals, and you will see these immune cells get attracted to that worm and eventually get all engulfed. It's really unbelievable. Right? You see that flutter of activity, and they all start migrating to where they need to be. Pretty amazing, right? And then that whole worm gets engulfed and those immune cells do what they do. Here would be a different type of immune cell. So a very similar type of experiment. They took a drop of blood, put it on a microscope slide. Those almost perfectly round, dark circles that you see on the screen are going to be the red blood cells. But then that kind of bell-shaped or ghost-shaped cell in the upper left-hand corner is the immune cell. And then what these scientists have done is put some bacteria on this microscope slide. That bacteria is going to basically start vibrating around that microscope slide, and you will see that immune cell actively hunting that bacteria. I mean, changing directions, literally hunting down this bacteria. So you see that immune cell is chasing the bacteria around that slide because it can literally smell the proteins and fats that are coming off of that bacteria. Right there, moves 90 degrees, eventually engulfs it, and then does what immune cells do. I mean, how cool is that? This is actually what's going on inside of our bodies. It's mind-blowing. And you know, I do like my chemical pathways, I suppose. I seem to show them a lot, but these are some pretty unique pathways that immune cells have. And if you notice, you see a lot of dots and minuses. Remember, I mentioned that our immune cells generate a lot of free radicals and oxidants, and this is some of the biochemical pathways that do that. But if I can draw your attention to a couple specific spots in this pathway, I think you'll be shocked at some of the things our immune cells produce. So I've got that yellow box up on the screen, and in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see something that says H2O2. Anybody know what that is? It's hydrogen peroxide, right? So if we get a small cut on our finger, what do we put on that wound to try to clean it up? Hydrogen peroxide. If we go straight to the left, we see something that says HOCl, or hypochlorous acid. Anybody know what that might be? It's everyday bleach that we use in our laundry, or maybe to clean the surfaces. So our immune cells can make bleach. If we go straight down from H2O2, we see HOSCN. Anytime you see CN in a molecular structure together like that, that's the signal for cyanide. So our immune cells can also make cyanide containing compounds, right? So a lot of nasty compounds that are working both against these foreign intruders, but can also work against our own host cells. And then again, to draw your attention into the upper right-hand corner of the box, can you also see there where it says SOD? So there's also a very robust NRF2 response that occurs inside of the immune cells, because these are the cells that are actually generating oxidants and free radicals. They also need to protect themselves from the very same things that they are producing. So very robust NRF2 response as well. So literally, I think we all know this, very simply put, our immune systems can be turned on and they can be turned off. But maybe a little bit of a simplistic view. It's never all the way on, it's never all the way off, but really it's always kind of teetering this balance, right? It's always a little bit on and it's always a little bit off, and it will skew that balance just a little bit as it needs in different times of need. So what we really want to be talking about is maintaining this healthy, balanced immune response, because you want it on when you want it on, and you want it off when you want it off. Okay, so if we're talking about that healthy, balanced response, the three things we want to be thinking about are the cells of the barrier system, or the skin and the gut, the cells of the innate immune system, and the cells of our adaptive immune systems. So really what we want to be talking about is supporting gut and skin health. For all of those reasons we just talked about, we have to talk about antioxidant protection, both for the immune cells, but also for our own cells to help protect them. And then lastly, we want to support that cellular growth, that decision-making process or differentiation, their activation, and the efficacy of our immune cells. So to do that, we went to the scientific literature and we looked what nutrients specifically support these functions. And so, of course, we put into Daily Wellness what I call the greatest hits: vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc. Okay, but why did we put these two vitamins and mineral in Daily Wellness? Well, the reason we put vitamin C in there was, one, for its antioxidant properties. And maybe a question I get more than anything is, why do we have vitamin C in Daily Wellness? I thought Protandim NRF2 Synergizer was all that we needed. And the answer is, we can layer these protections on top of each other. It's not one or the other. So we can shore up the activity of Protandim NRF2 Synergizer with additional antioxidants. And in this case, it's vitamin C. And why we chose vitamin C specifically is because a number of our immune cells specifically accumulate vitamin C at incredibly high levels. To put it into context, these immune cells can accumulate vitamin C at 10, 100, and even 1,000 times greater inside of their cells as compared to what's actually circulating in our blood. Right? So for some reason, these immune cells want vitamin C, and we're going to give it to them. But the reason the immune cells want that vitamin C is, one, for the antioxidant protection, but two, vitamin C is also required for those immune cells to divide, to make that decision-making process or differentiation. And then vitamin C is absolutely required to make collagen, or that molecular glue that really is holding all of our cells together. So a lot of reasons to include vitamin C in daily wellness. And then we have vitamin D. Vitamin D doesn't work like a traditional vitamin. It's not really consumed during biochemical reactions. It's acting more like a hormone inside of our cells. And it's been shown to regulate over 2,000 different genes, many of which are involved specifically in the immune response. One of those genes that it regulates, for example, is a gene called cathelicidin, right? The name's not so important, but what this little protein from this gene does is it literally acts like a little bullet. And this little protein will lodge itself into the membranes of different bacteria, whatever it might be, literally pokes holes in them, and nothing works very good with a bunch of holes poked in it. So just one of the things that vitamin D is regulating when it comes to our immune system. But then it's also been shown to help regulate that cell division differentiation of our innate and adaptive immune cells. So again, with that decision-making process in mind. And then we also included zinc. Zinc has just a number of different roles inside of the cell. Zinc can be a direct antioxidant, so very similar to vitamin C, but it can also act as an indirect antioxidant through its role in superoxide dismutase, for example. So zinc is absolutely required for the antioxidant activity of SOD. And in fact, if we're deficient in zinc, and zinc doesn't get incorporated into superoxide dismutase, what has been shown is that that enzyme can actually work backwards and be a pro-oxidant generator instead of an antioxidant protector, okay? So we wanna make sure we have enough zinc around. And then zinc has been shown to associate with over 300 different enzymes inside of our bodies. And because of those diverse roles, it's also helping again with that cellular division, differentiation, as well as the barrier function in our innate adaptive and skin and gut cells. So those are the essential vitamins and minerals that are in daily wellness. And then we have two nutritional extracts. The first is elderberry, a really fascinating compound and very fascinating to read about its history. It's been used for centuries to support overall health and wellness, but it's been used for centuries to specifically support vision, okay? It has these vision immune boosting, I got off track, but it's been used for centuries to support that overall wellness and to help support our immune systems. And one reason it's so powerful to support our immune system, because it's also providing a number of vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, so vitamin and dietary antioxidants, as well as other phytonutrients or nutrients from plants that have antioxidant activity, and others like anthocyanins that have very specific effects on being able to support our immune system. And then really the hero ingredient here is this whole yeast ferment. And very important to note that this is in there at the clinical doses that have been studied in the 15 research studies that support this ingredient. But this ingredient is actually known as a postbiotic. And I don't know if you guys were able to catch last week's presentation on the microbiome, but we talked about three things. We talked about prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics. So just to kind of refresh your memory about what postbiotics are, this is where we can utilize these cells, bacteria, yeast, whatever it is, to basically make the compounds outside of our bodies that we know are so healthy inside of our bodies. So we'll basically take yeast or bacteria, grow them up in the laboratory, let them grow, live, survive, breathe, and then just that act of metabolizing whatever it is they're living in, they're going to make those healthy compounds, and then we can isolate those healthy compounds and give them back to people. I don't know if that makes sense. And there's some pretty, I think, common examples of some postbiotics. I mean, beer and wine would be an example of postbiotics. If you think about it, you're taking sugar water, whether it's sugar from the grain or sugar from the grapes. Then we put yeast into that sugar water. The yeast consume that sugar, and as a byproduct of their metabolism, they excrete ethanol or alcohol, right? And that's where we get beer and wine from. So we're basically drinking a postbiotic. In this case, it's ethanol, but we can use the yeast, and depending on what we grow them on and the conditions we grow them in, we can steer that metabolism to make them make a whole bunch of different things. And there's a lot of ways we can deliver those postbiotics. So we can grow them up and then heat and activate them. We can just grind everything up. We can isolate either the cell walls or the lipid components of these cells and give them back. We can isolate the water-soluble compounds from the liquid if they were living in liquid, or we can even deliver specific metabolites. And you might be asking yourself, well, why in the world would you want to do this? And there's a couple reasons why postbiotics can be so powerful. If you think about being able to deliver a probiotic back to individuals, you first have to isolate it, which is hard to do. Then you have to grow it up in a laboratory, which is also really hard to do because these bacteria are living in a pretty unique environment. Then you have to be able to dry them down, re-isolate them, and put them in a product where they're stable and still be able to give them back. So there's a lot of steps in the process where a lot of, in this case, bacteria aren't so conducive to being able to be grown up and given back as live organisms. So we can get around that concept by growing them up in the laboratories and isolating back what we want. And so in a way, this is exactly what we're doing in this case. We're growing the yeast up on a proprietary food source. We are also growing them in different conditions. So with oxygen, without oxygen, and we can steer that metabolism. And as a consequence of changing up how they're living, growing, breathing, they are going to make different compounds. That then gets all dried down, puts in powdered form, and we are delivering it to you. Like I mentioned, there are 15 research studies on this ingredient and just absolutely incredible research about this ingredient supporting your gut health and your immune health. So that's Daily Wellness in a nutshell, or what we call the 5 to Thrive. So that vitamin C, the vitamin D, the zinc, the elderberry, and that fermented yeast extract. So pretty easy to remember. 5 to Thrive, Daily Wellness, meant to be taken every day to support and strengthen your immune system. And then again, just some amazing claims because of the ingredients we have in Daily Wellness, but compliant things we can say, right? Boost our body's response to stresses, right? Stresses of all types. Supports everyday health and well-being. Supports a balanced gut microbiome. Supports respiratory and sinus health. Improves immune response. So some incredibly powerful claims that we can make with this product. And trust me, this product works. So super proud of this product. Been out for about a year. I hope you all have given it a try. If you haven't, this is the time of year to give it a try. But we think you'll be hooked and you will be taking Daily Wellness every single day. So with that, Greg, thanks for having me again. And I'll turn it back over to you.
Dr. Dixon, that was, I'm blown away. I had no idea we had 3 immune systems and that adaptive and, first responders. We've got snipers. You're speaking my language. I just love all that. It was awesome and amazing. And then just a couple of questions that we have, because I love Daily Wellness, but who should take Daily Wellness? Can kids take Daily Wellness? Can elderly take Daily Wellness? Is there anybody who shouldn't take Daily Wellness?
Well, I have to say 18 and over for Daily Wellness, 18 and over. But of course, talk to your pediatrician, your OBGYN, whoever you might be working with, and just run the label by them and see what they say about it.
Okay.
It's a hard no from me for legal reasons, but I don't see any reason why it couldn't be given to kids, especially under the guidance of a pediatrician.
Okay, superb. And then how is it best to take Daily Wellness? Empty stomach, first thing in the morning? What would you recommend there?
This one, it doesn't matter at all.
Okay.
Just
So you
drink
can
it
take it
when
with a
you can
meal,
drink
you
it.
can take it anytime.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what I do, Greg. I don't know why this happens, but I get a sweet tooth right after I eat lunch. I don't know why. I crave something sweet, little piece of candy, whatever it might be. My little trick and my kind of cue to remind me to take Daily Wellness is right after lunch, right? It's got a little bit of sweet to it. So right after lunch, I start sipping on it, and actually I mix it with Axio. I still have a few lemonade Axios kicking around. So I mix lemonade, my Daily Wellness. It's kind of my afternoon, get me through. And it also satisfies that sweet tooth. And it's worked really well for me. So lunch is my cue, that kind of craving for sweet. Instead of going for something unhealthy, I reach for that Daily Wellness and Axio.
Wow. I love that combination. You guys, that's a pro tip right there. Daily Wellness and Axio. We're getting the benefits of all of that. And it sounds like, this product is for everyone. Again, consult with, your physician if you've got, kids and that kind of stuff, or there's allergies and that kind of piece. But it sounds like you can take it at any time. You can take it on an empty stomach. You can take it with a meal right after lunch. You guys, the most important thing I heard was take it every day, because this is working. It's